Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jess, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking all about my July TBR list. So if that's something that interests you, then keep on watching. So when I first started thinking about the books that I wanted to read in the month of July, there was 5 books that came to mind. However, I have a Book of the Month membership and I completely forgot all about it, and someone on Bookstagram reminded me, so I signed in and there I got one of the books that you have to choose from, and then I added 2 add-ons. So now I have a total of 8 books to read this month, which that's a lot for me. I don't typically read 8 books in one month. 5 or 6 is like a really good month for me. Last month I only got through 4. So the first book that I picked from the Book of the Month pile that you're able to pick from is a book called You're Invited by Amanda Jayatisa. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right, and I'm really sorry if I didn't. This book says, when Amaya is invited to Kavi's over-the-top wedding in Sri Lanka, she is surprised and a little hurt to hear from her former best friend after so many years of radio silence. But when Amaya learns that the groom is her very own ex-boyfriend, she is consumed by a single thought. She must stop the wedding from happening, no matter the cost. But as the week of the wedding celebrations begin and rumors about Amaya's past begin to swirl, she can't help but feel like she also has a target on her back. When Kavi goes missing and is presumed dead, all evidence points to Amaya. However, nothing is as it seems as Amanda expertly unravels that each wedding guest has their own dark secret and agenda, and Amaya may not be the only one with a plan to keep the bride from getting her happily ever after. So that sounds really interesting to me. I've never heard of this author before, never read any of her books, so I'm interested in seeing, what this book has to offer. So then I picked 2 add-ons, and these 2 add-ons I was gonna buy anyway, and I am so excited for, so excited. So the first one is by my favorite author, Ruth Ware. I have read all of her books, and so she has a new book that's coming out July 12th, but with Book of the Month, you can get newer releases earlier. So this is one of them, so I'm hoping it comes in a few days. So it says, April Clark Cliveden was the first person Hannah Jones met at Oxford. Vivacious, bright, occasionally vicious, and the ultimate it girl, she quickly pulled Hannah into her dazzling orbit. Together, they developed a group of devoted and inseparable friends, Will, Hugh, Ryan, and Emily, during their first term. By the end of the year, April was dead. Now, a decade later, Hannah and Will are expecting their first child, and the man convicted of killing April, former Oxford porter John Neville, has died in prison. Relieved to have finally put the past behind her, Hannah's world is rocked when a young journalist comes knocking and presents new evidence that Neville may have been innocent. As Hannah reconnects with old friends and delves deeper into the mystery of April's death, she realizes that the friends she thought she knew all have something to hide, including a murder. So, like I said, Ruth Ware happens to be one of my favorite authors. I love every single book from her. I'm sure that this is going to be no different, so I am dying to get my hands on it when my Book of the Month box comes. I'm literally gonna jump for joy and run to my mailbox as soon as I get the notification that it's in the mail. And then the second add-on that I picked also is a new release that I'm super excited for, and it's from Riley Sager. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, I'm so sorry. But it's The House Across the Lake. I've been seeing this book everywhere on Instagram or Bookstagram, and it sounds so intriguing. So it says, Casey Fletcher, a recently widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press, has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont. Which, side note, I would love a freaking lake house. So the setting for this sounds so perfect. Okay, armed with a pair of binoculars and several bottles of bourbon, she passes the time watching Tom and Catherine Royce, the glamorous couple living in the house across the lake. They make for good viewing. A tech innovator, Tom is powerful, and a former model, Catherine is gorgeous. One day on the lake, Casey saves Catherine from drowning, and the two strike up a budding friendship. But the more they get to know each other and the longer Casey watches, it becomes clear that Catherine and Tom's marriage isn't as perfect as it appears. When Catherine suddenly vanishes, Casey immediately suspects Tom of foul play. What she doesn't realize is that there's more to the story than meets the eye, and that shocking secrets can lurk beneath the most placid of surfaces. So this book reminds me, just the synopsis kind of reminds me of, let's see, The Girl on the Train or The Woman in the Window. You guys have probably seen or heard of those books. And so this kind of gives me the same vibe. So I'm excited to read that one. Now, for the 5 that were already on my list, one of them I actually already started reading. I mean, it's the first of the month, so, you know, I'm a couple chapters in, and I gotta say, so far I'm loving it. And that is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. So I am on chapter 3 so far, and literally the first paragraph in the book in the prologue had me cracking up. Okay, so this one says, Eva Mercy is a single mom and best-selling erotica writer who is feeling pressed from all sides. Which, by the way, I've always thought about writing erotica fiction. I know that's random, but I've always thought about doing it. I don't necessarily always read erotica fiction, like actually hardly ever, but I find, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I find I'm kind of good at it. Anyway, Shane Hall is a reclusive, award-winning novelist who, to everyone's surprise, shows up in New York. When Shane and Eva meet unexpectedly at a Black literary event, sparks fly. But what no one knows is that 15 years earlier, teenage Eva and Shane spend one crazy, torrid week madly in love and have been secretly writing to each other in their books ever since. Over the next 7 days amidst a steamy Brooklyn summer, Eva and Shane reconnect. But Eva's wary of the man who broke her heart. Before Shane disappears again, she needs a few questions answered. So, like I said, I'm on chapter 3. The first paragraph in the book, just that paragraph alone, I knew that I was going to click well with this book. It made me laugh so hard. So far, so good. So far, I really enjoy it. And during my July wrap-up at the end of the month, I'll be sure to let you know how I liked it. Actually, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @JessicaAmber_book_reviews. Sorry, without the S, book review. And I'll probably already post my thoughts about this book on there. So if you're interested, once I'm done reading it, I'm going to post a review over there on Instagram, and you guys will be able to see what I think. So keeping with the romance theme, I picked up The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is supposed to be enemies to lovers kind of trope, which I really love, and I feel like these type of romance books are really quick for me to read through, which apparently is what I need this month to be able to get through the 8 books that are on my list. So this one is about Lucy Hutton and Joshua Templin hate each other. Not dislike, not begrudgingly tolerate, hate. And they have no problems displaying their feelings through a series of ritualistic, passive-aggressive maneuvers as they sit across from each other, executive assistants to co-CEOs of a publishing company. Lucy can't understand Joshua's joyless, uptight, meticulous approach to his job. Joshua is clearly baffled by Lucy's overly bright clothes, quirkiness, and Pollyanna attitude. Now that they're up for the same promotion, their battle of wills has to come to a head, and Lucy refuses to back down when their latest game could cost her her dream job. But the tension between Lucy and Joshua has also reached its boiling point, and Lucy is discovering that maybe she doesn't hate Joshua, and maybe he doesn't hate her either, or maybe this is just another game. So what initially drew me to this book when I read the synopsis was the way that they describe Lucy. So a few months ago, me and my husband, we binged watched the show Ugly Betty, which I know is old, an older show, but so there's 5 seasons of Ugly Betty on Hulu, and we binged watched all of them, and I really loved Ugly Betty. She sounds just like Lucy. She wears overly bright clothes, quirky, and has a Pollyanna attitude. And she's also an executive assistant to a co-CEO. So because I loved that show so much, I felt like I was really gonna like this book. Also, like I said, the enemies to lovers trope, I mean, come on. For me, I like that trope a lot. So I'm interested to see Lucy and Joshua's love story and how it unfolds. So the next book that I have, that depending on if I get my book of the month box in, depending on when I get it in, this will probably be my second book that I actually end up reading, and it's called Reckless Girls from Rachel Hawkins. So Rachel Hawkins writes more thriller and suspense novels, and I read her book The Wife Upstairs, and I really, really loved that book. It's somewhere on my shelves right now, but I love that book. If you haven't read that one, I highly suggest that one as well. So this will be my second book from her that I'm reading, and this one is about, so it says, one island, beautiful, wild, and strange, Morrill Island is a desolate spot in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with a mysterious history of shipwrecks, cannibalism, and even rumors of murder. It's the perfect destination for the most adventurous traveler to escape everything except the truth. 6 visitors, 6 stunning 20-somethings, are about to embark on a blissful, free-spirited journey, one filled with sun-drenched days and intoxicating nights. But as it becomes clear that the group is even more cut off from civilization than they initially thought, it starts to feel like the island itself is closing in, sending them on a dangerous spiral of discovery. Countless secrets. When one person goes missing and another turns up dead, the remaining friends wonder what dark currents lie beneath this impenetrable paradise, and who else will be swept under its secluded chaos. With its island Gothic sensibility, sexy suspense, and spine-tingling reimagining of an Agatha Christie classic, Reckless Girls will wreck you. Now, this also drew me in because literally in the synopsis it mentions Agatha Christie, and Agatha Christie is the whole reason why I started getting into the genre of mysteries, thriller, suspense. I love Agatha Christie books. And which, if you haven't read her, please pick up some of her books and read them. They're fantastic, especially for the time that she wrote them in. I mean, she herself is just so empowering as an author. I love her. So this book has a lot of big shoes to fill if it's, being compared to an Agatha Christie book, in my opinion. So hopefully it lives up to the hype of that. Also, the setting, the island setting, I think is a fun twist on some of the other books that sound similar to this that I've read, like Lucy Folly, The Guest List, One by One from Ruth Ware, The Sanitarium by Sarah Pierce. Those all have kind of the same vibe where a group of friends or a group of strangers, they're on a secluded place. In those 3 books that I mentioned, they're more on either like a secluded island or a secluded like a secluded mountain or something like that, and someone dies, goes missing. The people on on that secluded mountain or on the island. They have to figure out who did it amongst the group. They kind of have to play their own detectives because, of course, you know, detectives can never come to where they're at because they're you know, maybe they're snowed in or something like that. So the 3 books that I mentioned, The Guest List, The Sanitarium, and One by One by Ruth Rare, I have loved all 3 of those. And this sounds really similar, but more of like a summertime beachy kind of scenario, which is perfect because we're in July. So hopefully this does not disappoint. And the next book that I have, actually the next 2 books that I have, I really love books that talk about other books, or I should say books about books. So whether that's a book that takes place in a library, a book that talks about other books, a book that talks about people who love books, people who write books. I mean, I just love that in a book. And this one is called The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. And this one, I saw it, so I saw it a lot on this Facebook group that I follow called The Book Hangout. If you have Facebook, please check that group out. It's filled with some amazing people, and we literally only talk about books. So if you have the chance, go check that out. And one of the books that I was recommended from that group is this one. And it's about the ward of the wealthy Mr. Locke, January scholar, feels little different from the artifacts that decorate his sprawling mansion, carefully maintained, largely ignored, and utterly out of place. But when she finds a strange book, one that tells a tale of secret doors, of love, adventure, and danger, for the first time, January realizes that she can escape her story and sneak into someone else's. So like I said, this one, it just really, really intrigued me, and I heard nothing but good things about it. So I can't wait to read this one, which obviously I can't wait to read any of these books. I mean, that's literally why I picked them up. So not sure why I keep having to say that, but anyway, the next book is The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. I got this during the Target buy 2 get 1 free books. Were you guys able to pick up any of those? I hate that Target puts these stickers on these books. Like, it drives me insane. And then it always leaves this stupid sticky residue. Come on, Target, let's do better. Let's find a different way than defacing a book. There's a lot of other bookstores that do that too. I think Books A Million sometimes does it, and Barnes and Nobles and Books A Million, they do that, and it really irritates me. But anyway, they're not gonna see this video, so whatever. So this one is about Esme, and Esme is born into a world of words. Motherless and ever curious, she spends her childhood in Oxford, in the room where her father and fellow lexicographers, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, are collecting words for the first complete edition of the Oxford English Dictionary. While they work, young Esme begins to collect other words, ones that have been discarded or neglected by the dictionary men. As she grows up, Esme realizes that words and meanings relating to women's and common folks' experiences often go unrecorded, and so she begins to search out words for her own dictionary, the Dictionary of Lost Words. To do so, she must leave the sheltered world of the university and venture out to meet the people whose vocabulary will fill those pages. Set in the early 20th century during the height of the women's suffrage movement, the Dictionary of Lost Words reveals a missing narrative, hidden between the lines of a history written by men. Inspired by actual events, author Pip Williams has delved into the archives of the Oxford English Dictionary to tell this original story. The Dictionary of Lost Words is a delightful, lyrical, and deeply thought-provoking celebration of words and the power of language to shape the world. So that sounded really intriguing to me. Like I said, love books about books, and you know, this is obviously that. So I am interested in giving this a go. It also has really good reviews on Amazon, I saw. I try not to go too based off of other people's reviews, but if I'm a little unsure of if I'm gonna like the book or not, I will read the reviews. So I am guilty of that. But that's gonna do it for today's video, you guys. These are the 8 books that I'm hopeful that I'll get around to reading this month. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. Also in the comments below, let me know what you're reading this month. I would love to hear about it. You can also let me know what you read last month and if you recommend them. So you guys, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna try to put out a video every Wednesday and Friday. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at JessicaAmber_book review. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!